Newsflash is brought to you by Franco Trading Enterprise. Still, fun papa fee.
You're still watching Prime Morning, and it's time for us to delve into what the newspapers have for us. It's time for News Flush. And like I told you earlier, I'll keep urging you to go to Franco Trading Enterprise for all your gadgets. Now, what gadgets are you looking for? It's a mobile phone, it's a television set, CCTV cameras. I mean, what do you want? We've got that and even many more. Just visit any of our shops, or you can download the app on your phone, Franco Trading app, or visit our website for more details at www.francotradingenterprise.com. Franco Trading Enterprise, still phone papa fee. My guests are seated and very poised for this particular conversation. Now, yesterday, it's supposed to be good news, but I don't know what the opposition will say, whether it's good news or not. And my point is, we are here. How do we get ourselves out of it? And, you know, we are seeing some sort of improvement to get ourselves out of it. But the opposition says, how did we even get here in the first place? So let's not be happy that we are getting ourselves out of it in a way. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the debt restructuring program. Now, this debt restructuring program is actually meant for Ghana to have some sort of comfortability with regards to our paying of our debt. And we've gone to the Eurobonds where we are owing, and we have a 37% haircut, meaning that the interest rate has been cut by 37%. Good news, isn't it? Well, it means that we also have some sort of relaxation for the next 4 years before we start paying. This will enable us to be able to, you know, use our monies or channel our monies into other resources that we can use right here in Ghana, and also strengthen our city, because currently the city is in limbo. Now, we'll talk about that because we have a banking consultant who will join us, and we'll have Isaac Kofi Ejay, who is our data analyst from Joy News, also join us via Zoom. My guests are here, like I told you earlier. Representing the NDC is Honorable Timothy Awantrim Atabuade. Good morning, Honorable.
Good morning, Roselyn.
How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good morning to my friend Aipe. He's been upset for some time.
Yeah. I think he had a funeral.
Yeah,
he told us.
I think so. So
yeah.
I want to say thank you to our viewers for always being with us anytime when we are around. And today is a beautiful day. We say thank you to God for his mercies and favors.
Right. And Honorable Ayepe, Honorable Samuel Ayepe.
Ayepe.
Ayepe. Representing the NPP this morning. Good morning, how are you?
By His grace, I'm fine. And you too?
I'm fine, thank you.
My brother, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Good governance is showing.
If you say so.
Your outfit, your skin, your beard.
If you say
and
so,
if I look at my sister, the smiling face, everybody is happy. Every Ghanaian.
We'll do advert for MPP.
It's very happy today.
I think our viewers will tell us whether they're happy or not.
Right?
You know, it costs us to be like this.
I lost two of my family members, my grand aunt and my direct aunt. The grand aunt had been buried, and my aunt will be buried on the 6th of July.
Wow.
Ayusiano is just a 45-minute drive from Accra. On the 6th you are coming to.
No, I'll be there. I will.
Yes, I will remind you.
Me.
You have to be there.
I'll be there.
Yes. And then,
interestingly, I'll be at home this weekend.
Okay.
Also attending to a very important family funeral. I must necessarily be there. So
yes.
God willing, by Thursday or Friday, I should embark on the journey home. But certainly notify me.
Saturday coming week.
Yeah.
I'm inviting you.
Yes.
To be there.
I have to be there.
I have to be there.
That's great. Anyway, so let me quickly read what the newspapers have for us, and then we can delve into our topic for this morning. But like I told you earlier, we'll try as much as possible to speak the layman English for our viewers to understand. So you might have heard of, you know, haircuts, and you are thinking the haircut is just like the domestic debt exchange program. It's not like that. It's different. This might come with some positivity. Yesterday, I heard somebody saying that, hey, another haircut, my money is going to go. No, it's not like that. We are going to speak layman English for you at home to understand what this whole debt exchange program is. This is not a domestic one, but rather this is the external one. So we talk about the Eurobonds and also the countries that we are owing. So we are going to talk about all of that. Isaac will be joining us via Zoom to break it down for us to understand it very, very well. Let me quickly read what the newspapers have for us. And don't forget that this segment is brought to you by Franco Trading Enterprise. Now go to Franco Trading Enterprise for all your gadgets. Mobile phones, television sets, CCTV cameras, and even many more. They have all of that for you. So make sure that you visit the shops, or you can actually check us out on our website, www.francotradingenterprise.com. Franco Trading Enterprise, still phone papa pair fee. So let me read the newspaper. So I'll start with the very first one, which is the New Finder newspaper. The New Finder newspaper. And it reads, $15 billion saved and deferred paves the way for resumption of stalled projects. And like I said, we are going to be able to resume all our stalled projects. So if it's road projects that have been stalled, if it's the food program that has been stalled, whatever has been stalled, now it's going to start all over again. And it's also going to strengthen our city. So we'll talk about how our city will be strengthened with this new restructure. Claims Jinapor granted mining license to foreigners falls. Only 4% of SDGs on track for Africa by 2030. This is coming from Special Advisor. Government raised 3.6 billion Ghana cedis, weakens further. And economic recovery on course, President says so. The Ghanaian Times newspaper is the next newspaper that I'm taking. The Ghanaian Times newspaper. And it reads, 2024 elections, don't endorse presidential candidates, clergy admonished. And so I think I've seen a few clergymen, endorsing some candidates and all of that. I think it's actually not right for any clergy to endorse any political party. Please and please, again, desist yourself from it. You might have your preferred choice, but your members also have their preferred choice. So if possible, so peace can prevail. Please, when you mount that pulpit, don't talk about politics, please. Talk about peace, preach peace, preach peace, preach peace. Communications Minister launches foundation to empower women, youth and women. Ghana's Eurobond holders reach agreement with government on debt restructuring. And like I said, it's actually a step in the right direction, but we might have to face some complications as well, or implications with it. We'll talk about that. GOC unveils plans to mark Olympic Day. GPL DOL clubs urge to acquire SNIT clearance certificate, and in Swatrem FC win MTN FA Cup. Congratulations to them. The Daily Guide newspaper is the final newspaper that I'm taking. NDC lies, deceit exposed, says Dame, and this comes from Godfrey Dame. 2024 elections, vigilantism laws to be enforced. Nana orders 1.5 billion Ghana cedis bailouts for defunct bank customers. Yes, yesterday it was another issue that was out there trending. It's supposed to be good, but Ghanaians always find a reason to complain. Let me say it like that. I saw people saying, why did he wait all this while? Is he now coming to pay? Some people have lost their lives and all of that. And people are claiming it's because of election year. Is it your money you're looking for, or it's not your money you're looking for? Which is which? The most important thing, you get your money. If you get your money, say hallelujah. Closed fishing season begins July 1st. Yagbonwura visits Yana. Let's see some stories in the center spread as well. Yes, and my ex-wife abandoned me, says Yalsapo. I think Yalsapo has been trending more than any other artist in the last 1 week because his wife decided to embarrass him on a radio station. His ex-wife, that's even the sad part. This issue, maybe Friday we'll delve into it, but his ex-wife will embarrass him. Some people don't have shame. Kwabena Jansa announces last stop, and Claudia Lumo assists in Sawom female inmates. Let's see some backstories. Sports, actually. MTN FA Cup winners pocket 180,000 Ghana cedis. All set for GNPC Ghana's fastest grand final. England gets Shaw boost, and Nunes strikes as Uruguay win Copa America opener. That will be all with regards to what the newspapers have for us. This segment is proudly brought to you by Franco Trading Enterprise. Now, when you go to Franco Trading Enterprise, make sure that you go and you mention our name. Say that you watched on Joy Prime, and that's why you're at Franco Trading Enterprise. Maybe you get some discount. You know what I mean? Download the app on your phone as well, Franco Trading app, or you can visit our website, www.francotradingenterprise.com. Franco Trading Enterprise, still phone Papa Perfie. Now, what is this whole new debt restructuring program about? Yesterday, we had 37, we heard that we have a 37% haircut. Now, you as a layman will ask, or you'll be wondering, what does that mean? A year ago or 2 years ago, we heard of haircuts, and all of a sudden, those who didn't understand what haircuts meant started experiencing monies being lost. Pensioners started experiencing losing their monies. Are you going to face the same thing? That has been the question that you're asking. Well, that was a different program. This is actually a different program altogether. Government went to Eurobond to borrow some monies. Government went to countries to borrow some monies. And these are the monies that we are talking about. Government was supposed to have paid off these monies. And so it was affecting our cedi, and the cedi kept depreciating. Currently, government have been able to reach a negotiation, meaning that we have 4 years to be able to hold on to payment, and it will also strengthen the cedi. But how will that strengthen the cedi? We asked that this morning. Isaac Ofieje from Joy News is here to break it down for us, and then we'll have our guests join us. Okay, before Isaac joins us, I think that let me bring our guests into the conversation, and then we can have Isaac. I'll quickly take their, should I say, their opinion on it, because there's a lot to answer for, and I'll ask them questions after I take their opinion. Supposed to be good news, but does the NDCC like that? Honorable Timothy Awonshim Atabwade. Good news or bad news for the NDC?
Good morning once again. Lest we forget, you know there was a petition lodged with the president to remove the OSP, Kisiaja being from office. Martin Amidu came and denied that he had no knowledge of it and challenged whosoever that wrote a petition to come out. And even he went further and said that he doesn't believe that the request from the Chief Justice to the OSP to respond to the issues raised was genuine. And for now, we haven't heard anything. It seems it's dying down. You see, if indeed Martin Amidu did not utter the letter, and the president was pushed to sign a fake letter and transmit same to the Chief Justice, who acted on it with the speed of lightning, something might have gone wrong. And I said that, look, we should not allow the thing to go on like that. We have to find a way to unearth the one who brought that fake petition. Martin Amidu said he did not. Government hasn't challenged him. No one has challenged Martin Amidu. The thing seems to be dying down. The president acted on a fake letter, transmitted a fake letter to to the Chief Justice. He also acted unknowingly or whatever it is. So for me as a country, we must unearth that whosoever brought the petition would have signed. Normally you sign, you put your number there, the time, and then the date to show that, because at the present you cannot go and give a letter without the proper records being recorded there. CCTV cameras are also there to capture the one who brought the petition. So I am calling on government. It's a serious matter. People should not joke with that.
All right. For
asking the president to. But going back to the issue of the debt, when you read, I think one of the papers, it said that deferred Ghana, we have saved some and deferred some of the people. Obviously, they are not going to forgive us all these things. But the question we keep asking is, did it come a little too late? We have an option. Or is there anything we could do? No. Remember, we have been on this debt restructuring. We're able to do it domestically because we have control of our domestic investors. But external investors said no, they will not allow us to come and dictate to them how they should do the haircut. And it was incumbent on the IMF conditionalities and the monies that were to be released to us. So the IMF in itself were waiting for this agreement to be reached, such a way that they will have a way to release our, I think, second tranche of $600 million to be brought. Now the issue, how did we get there? What did we use the 13 billion that we borrowed? Even 15 if we go better. And we have said time and again on this platform and on several platforms that we got here because we did not use the money for investment. If we had invested into projects that could pay themselves off, I sincerely believe that we wouldn't have gotten to where we are. And we are all taking the brunt of the pain and the suffering. Workers are suffering. Our traders and so on are suffering because of the volatile nature of our city. The instability. Today, as we talk today, the exchange rate is almost 16 Ghana cedis and so on, which does not inure to the benefit of business people. And when you are talking about the economy, you are talking about real people who are engaged in all sorts of manners to eke an income. You look at people who sell bread, people who do petty trading. And as we talked this morning, the statistical survey tells us that over 7 million people, 7.4 million people have fallen into poverty due to the extreme and excruciating pain that we are going through. Jobs have been lost, people's savings have been lost, people have died. I am believing and thinking that what we are going to say, remember that it's postponed, is deferred. What we are going to say, we should use that money judiciously and invest them into proper capital investment that will yield revenue and be able to withstand the fronts and smiles of the economy.
For the NDC, this is no good news.
No, that's what I'm saying, that the savings that we have made, it's good news because whatever policy that will bring respite to the people of this country, to the 32 million people of this country, is good.
So the government has done well then?
Certainly, they went through a lot of excruciating negotiating period before they went.
But they've done well.
But why did they do well? Who sent us there?
But they have done well. Once we are there,
how do you celebrate bankruptcy and mediocrity?
No,
how do you celebrate that? You are saying that they've done well.
I'm saying that for looking at where
no, you cannot punish me. You can't send me to prison. You can't send me to prison. Come and give me pardon and tell me that you've done well. First of all, how did I go to the prison? How was this country locked up in prison in terms of our debt that we couldn't borrow? If we were doing better.
The NDC went to IMF. Under the NDC, we went to IMF. So
Roselyn,
beautiful. NPP is the only party that's gone to IMF.
What were we told? It was incompetence that led us to there. It was that. So everybody believed that we're not going to go to IMF again. Were you not surprised that we went to IMF? And look at the conditionalities attached. We went to IMF not on the basis of the fact that we were rated CC in a junk economy and that we could not borrow. Okay. We wanted policy credibility so that we could go in. And when we're leaving office, we left over $700 million in the cup. We could not cash all that money. You know, it was about $900 million that we went for. We didn't go to the COP. We didn't go to IMF when we were on a structure. We couldn't get oxygen to breathe. The economy hadn't collapsed. We were rated B. And at the B, we still went because we needed policy credibility. Okay. It's completely different from when you go there with your cancerous tumors not treatable. We went there when we were completely off. The whole world was laughing at us. We couldn't do anything. We were looking to borrow just $1. $1, we could not be borrowed. That's how we went there. That tells you why the MPP was able to borrow 13 billion after we handed over to. If we had handed over a junk economy to them, they wouldn't have been able to go to the capital market to borrow 13 billion. It is true because they handed over to themselves, but they cannot go and borrow.
Okay. Let me bring Honorable Ayupe. Honorable Ayupe, let's talk about how this restructuring is going to enable the economy come back to its feet.
Well, let me first say good morning to your viewers and also to the President, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and the Vice, Mataba Omia, who doubles as the flag bearer of the MPP. He was in London 2-3 days ago and still asking Ghanaians to give him the mandate, as he put it in this scenario, that he has learned the driving, he has got his license and a good driver and can sit behind the steering to steer the nation into a successful end. And also, a very good morning to the Finance Minister, who and his team have been able to put up a good debate out there to get such a good deal for the country. I want to put it on record that the debt that we are saddled with, the debt that we are trying to restructure, the debt that we have gotten relief is not a debt that was acquired between 2017 and today. After we get the HIPC relief, President Kufuor left us with 26% debt to GDP. Before the NDC handed over to MPP in 2017, the debt portfolio has ballooned to 73% from 26%. But we have something we call rebasing. So when the rebasing was made, the debt was brought to 56%. So if you use before rebasing, you subtract 26% from 73%, and the mathematics is there for you to see. If you use the figure after rebasing, it is 56% minus 26%, which will give you around 30%. So it is clear that the NDC added 30 percentage points to our debt portfolio. And then when we also came to power, we moved it from 56% to 104%. And then, because of the IMF, that a program that we bought into, and also the domestic debt restructuring and the suspension of borrowing from the Eurobond markets, the debt portfolio came down from 105 to 66.4%. So if you take it from 56% to 66.4%, the difference is 10. But for us to put ourselves into proper debate, I want us to keep 56 to 104, though we are not in 104. So clearly, what we are saddled with is the money borrowed by the NDC plus that of MPP. That comes together to make the country's debt. Let us also not forget the fact
how much was you said how much was borrowed by the NPP and NDC? Did you break it down?
Yes, I said from 26 to 56.
Okay, so the NPP borrowed. How much has the NPP borrowed so far?
That is from 56 to 104, which will give you around 48%.
And how much is the NDC borrowed?
30%.
Okay, so yours is what? 57?
48%.
48%.
And then 30% difference.
30%.
But there's a
so you have borrowed more?
No, there's an explanation here. When we went to IMF, we've gone for Sono Hydro, 2 billion, cocoa syndicated loan, which in actual fact shouldn't have been added to our debt. But IMF said, we want to know the country's total debt. So take the state debts and the institutional debt together, so that when we are helping you, we don't want to help you to bring your debt to GDP down, then you go and bring syndicated loan from Cocoa Board, and so this one, it was borrowed by Cocoa Board. We didn't know. Oh, this one was borrowed by so we didn't know. No. So that's what happened, and our debt was ballooned to the 104% to GDP. So what we are saddled with, whether MPP borrowed more or NDC borrowed less, what the explanation I want to give is that all the hula baloo about debt structuring up and down is the country's debt. And the country's debt is equal to the Kufuor 26%, the NDC's 30%, and the MPP 48%. I want listeners or viewers to understand the point from here.
But the question here is that what did we use the 48% borrowing for?
I'm coming there. So I heard my brother saying, we did not borrow and put the money into a profitable venture. That is why we are saddled with this debt. It's not true. All the money MPP borrowed, the Eurobonds, none of them is less than 10 years, the maturity period. So what we are saddled with is the 30% plus the Kufuor's 26% that are due for payment. Ours, whether big or small, is not due for payment.
The 48% is not due for payment.
It is none of the money that we borrowed is due now.
Okay. So you also be due when 2026, 2020?
Upward.
Okay.
I want him to understand that if they put what they borrowed into a profitable venture, we should have gotten that profit to pay what they borrowed and it's due now. So when we are painting a picture to Ghanaians, as if they borrowed and put it into a profitable venture, so where is the money? If indeed they put it into a profitable venture, where is the money?
Okay, but let me ask the NPP. 48%, where's your money? What did you put it in?
Look at a lot of construction that is going on. The road construction that's going on.
Just mention a few, please, Honorable.
Oh,
it doesn't matter, just mention them. Have
you traveled to some quite recently? There's construction going on. It's part of the money.
It's a woman. Okay.
Have you seen Dome to Brikuso to Kitase? Construction is going on. The expansion of Kasua to Winneba and beyond is going on. The way that expansion is, I'm just telling you what is closer to us.
Okay.
That people can see. Look at the interchange. They say, oh, we started it, whatever it is. That loan has been added to that of Ghana. NPP loan, because it is our time that disbursement started.
But Honorable, you've mentioned roads. What else? What other things that the money gets channeled into?
We have Agenda 111. And
Agenda 111, we still haven't seen
it is going on in various stages. And I'm telling you, 46 to 50 of them are near completion.
We keep hearing that. But
yes,
we never
so you see them.
Okay.
Go to every senior high school, every existing senior high school in this country. There have been expansion, infrastructure expansion. When we started the free senior high school, enrollment went high. So there was a need for us to go for a loan. So we use our get fund as a collateral, going for a loan of about 600 to about 1.5 billion. Came in tranches. The first tranche came before I left Parliament. And he was there when the $600 million came. So if you go to every senior high school,
there's no expansion.
I don't know whether you have family members who are attending senior high school. They'll come and tell you that whether it is a classroom block, it is a library, it is a dormitory, it is an auditorium, construction going on every senior high school that you see, including establishment of the new senior high school, including the upgrading of the yield blocks that were built by Mahama into boarding schools.
Okay.
Dormitories have been built in some of these schools.
Okay.
Last time I heard the vice president.
So we haven't really built any major hospital yet, have we? I'm just asking a question.
Do you describe a district hospital as a major hospital?
I asked the question.
Have we built?
Okay.
And also,
so how many district hospitals have we built?
See, there's one thing I don't understand the NDC. When you build a hospital and you say it is phase 1, and we come to complete the phase 2, he said, we still give the credit for you. Yes, we give the credit to you. Then why do you want to add the phase 2 cost? The borrowing of the phase 2 to our debt, the debt that we have.
But who borrowed it?
Yes, because we borrowed it.
Okay, so if you borrowed it, then why do you want to give it to another
the first airport, the phase 2 was added. We used part of that money, part of the money we borrowed. Go to Tamale. Phase 2 and phase 3 are all going on in Tamale International Airport.
Okay, so talking about that, I'll have to come back to you,
Look at the
Honorable.
road infrastructure we have built across this country.
We'll talk about that. We'll delve into it because we ought to see and we ought to feel. But Honorable has told us that there's in Sarom Road, there's a Domi Road, there's a Kasua, there's a Dowena. He's spoken about, Agenda 111 yet to be completed, although we're told that Agenda 111 will be commissioned beginning of the year, which we didn't see actually last year. We didn't see yet, but we've been told that about 40-something is near completion. And I believe that once we've been told that it will be commissioned, it will definitely be commissioned.
And don't forget,
Kofi is joining us via phone, so I want to bring him.
When we say money, we borrowed money, it's not only for infrastructure.
Right.
Human resource, building of human resource for this country is key.
Great.
So the amount of money that had been sunk into free senior high school for the enrollment of increase of about 1.5 million school children is something that needs to be
well, that's true, though. That's true. Anyway, so Isaac Kofi Ajayi is joining us via Zoom. Good morning, Isaac.
Even if it is one city.
Good morning, Roselyn.
How are you today?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm fine, thank you. And sorry for keeping you waiting. My guest needed to, dissect their topic before we could bring you in. Now, you are coming to help us understand what this whole restructuring program is and how it can help build our city. Because the city has been depreciating so badly in recent times, but we are being told that with this new debt restructuring program, we are going to see the city strengthening, and also IMF is going to release the 360 million US dollars that we have been promised. It's going to be released, and it also means that we are going to have more money coming in from probably the World Bank and other, investors who might want to support Ghana. Now, please break it down to us. Let us understand this whole 37% haircut.
All right. So definitely we would have to take it from when we started this whole debt restructuring exercise. We had to divide the debt restructuring exercise into two. We had the DDEP and the EDEP. The DDEP is what we did in our domestic space, where we restructured close to 203 billion Ghana cedis of local debts held in the local currency. Okay. Government, according to them, made a savings of about 61 billion, Ghana cedis. Now, that was the DDEP. The finance minister says the DDEP has been successful and has been completed. So government is not doing any form of restructuring in the domestic space again. Now, what we are focusing on, or what we are talking about, is the EDEP, which is the external debt restructuring, which also has been divided into two forms because of the type of creditors we are dealing with. So we are dealing with creditors at the bilateral level and then also creditors at the commercial level. So you heard, our guest speaking more of the commercial, debt, which we are talking about is the Eurobond creditors. So at the bilateral level, that will mean that the debt that Ghana owes, country by country. So China, France, there's Germany, there's all countries that we owe. They have formed the bilateral creditor committee. And when we met them, we've been meeting them since last year, and that has also been successful. And the good news is that at the bilateral level, they have given us moratorium. So that will mean a breathing space. So what it means is that the $5.4 billion that we owe the bilateral creditors, we are not going to get haircut on them. In essence, it means that they are not going to reduce the debt portfolio, neither are they going to reduce the interest. But what they have given us is that they've given us a free space for about 4 years that, look, get some water, drink, so that you cool down, and in the next 4 years, you start repaying. But when you start repaying, if you are owing me 50 cedis, you pay the same 50 cedis. If the interest is 10%, you pay the same 10%. So that is moratorium. So a breathing space for a period of time. Now, the 37% haircut that was all over the news yesterday has to do with the Eurobond creditors, who we believe that, the debt we owe them at the external level is so huge, $14.6 billion. But what we earmarked for restructuring was $13 billion. And according to the finance minister yesterday, we've been able to do 13.1 billion out of the 14 billion. So these are the people that we were asking them to, suffer haircut. In essence, we're asking them to cut a portion of what we owe them so that it will become smaller for us to be able to pay. And if the interest that we're paying, what they call the coupons on these loans, if they are too high, on the average, they are between 8 to 10%. We've asked them to reduce to 5%. This was our proposal. Our proposal was for a haircut between 20 to 40%. But what we are learning yesterday is that after government's negotiations, they've been able to secure a haircut of 37%.
Which is supposed to be good news, right?
Within the range that we set for ourselves.
Is this good news, Kofi? Kofi, is this good news for us?
Yes. So that 37% will mean that per the statement that the steering committee put out yesterday, they are saying that government is going to have access to $4.7 billion, and then they're also going to create a breathing space, or what they call the cash flow of $4.4 billion under the IMF program. It means from next year, or from this year up until 2026, they are going to cut a portion of their debt and make sure that government of Ghana has additional money of $4.4 billion to invest in critical areas like health. If you walk all over the country, we've seen road projects that have stalled, and these inflows will help us to complete them.
Okay, so Kofi, please, the monies that we are expecting is 4 points.
We are not expecting.
Yeah, the savings that we are expecting.
The savings we are expecting. Okay.
Yes, under the IMF program. So from 2024 to 2026, we are expecting 4.4 billion cash flow. 4.4 billion. Beyond that, we are expecting additional, I think, 3.6. So together, that will give you the $8.8 billion that the finance minister spoke about. Okay. But whilst we still have the IMF program, what we are expecting is 4.4 billion. And that is supposed to come in to help us, revitalize the economy, continue stored projects, and make sure that it comes in a way to help the city stabilize.
Right. And so from what Kofi is saying, this is supposed to be good news. But Kofi, we should look at the long-term implications as well, because they say there's no free lunch, or this one, there's free lunch.
Absolutely, there's no free lunch. If somebody is giving you something for free, you should know that in the long term, there are strings attached. The strings attached is that in the long run, this will have a negative impact on Ghana, because when we go back to the Eurobond market, the international capital market, to go and borrow again, they will place high risk on almost all the the monies that we'll be looking for. It's not that Ghana cannot go back to the Eurobond market now, but if we go right now, we are not going to pay coupon rates or interest rates as low as 8 to 10%. They can even access to pay 24%, which on a dollar debt is so high. So the bad news is that because you've done restructuring, when you go back to the market again, of which we are hoping to go back very soon, you are not going to enjoy the 8%, the 8 to 9% you used to enjoy. The interest rate is going to be relatively higher. And then also, if you are enjoying long maturity periods, it will be shortened, because everybody will want their money, because they know if they spread the money for a long period of time, there's going to be a time that your economy will be on the flat again, and then you may not be able to pay. So all the monies that will be taken from the international capital market will come with short-term or medium-term, instead of at a point where even hoping to issue a century bond, which means that whatever monies we borrowed then, we're hoping to pay in, let's say, 100 years. We've done 40 years, we've done 25 years, which is good. But the current restructuring will put spokes in some of these things we've done. And when we go back to the market again, they'll place high risk on us, and it will be so difficult to borrow at relatively low interest rates.
Right. Now, Kofi, help me understand this. Now, the NDC is saying that it's the MPP that has taken us to this level. And the MPP is also saying that the payment that is being done is not payment on the loans that they have actually gone for, but rather the loans that the NDC and the NPP under His Excellency Kufuor went for. How true is this?
Of course, I mean, if you look at the Eurobond space, which has become the bone of contention, definitely the NPP borrowed more than the NDC in terms of the shared numbers. But we are not just talking about amortization payments. We are talking about interest payments. So whether you are going to pay that loan in the next 40 years, 20 years, or 100 years, at every 6 months, you need to pay interest. And that's our headache. It's not the amortization. As for the amortization, it takes a long time for us to pay. Is the interest that has become problematic. The interest, which we estimate that every year...
let him land. He's on Zoom. Please, let him land. No, wait.
He's talking as if the interest we are paying is only interest on MPP Euro.
That's what he said. That's not what he said. No, but that's what he said. From the onset, he did say that it is the monies that the MPP...
And I've been writing them down.
On Eurobond that has already been taken by...
That's what he said.
No, that is not the fact.
What he's saying is that, please, when I asked... the question I asked him was to clarify what you said.
And he said... asked that question. I never said the principal. No. I said we are paying. And Eurobond can take 30, 27 years, 30, 40, and so on. But when we say 40% Euro bond. You are paying the interest. It's the principal that you have to pay in that 40 years. So what I said, I meant the interest we are paying is interest on the money, MPP, Kufuor, NDC, and what we are.
But he agreed to it.
No,
he did agree, Honorable. He did agree.
He said we are not paying principal, but nobody's talking about principal.
No, but he's talking Honorable.
No.
Anyway.
No. I never said you are not paying principal. What I'm saying is that the problem is not the principal payment. The headache for Ghana is interest payment, which is estimated to be between $2 to $3 billion every year on external debt and loans. You are right. It's not just interest under MPP. It's interest even, before the after HIPIC, where we are paid interest on loans taken by after HIPIC, and then also loans taken under the NDC administration.
Okay.
But definitely, if you go for a bond and the maturity period is very long, trust me, maybe Dr. Etienne will speak about it. The longer your maturity period, the higher the amount of interest you pay at the end of the loan. So I am not saying that you're not paying amortization. All I'm saying is that the headache for the country right now is interest payments.
Yes.
If you go into our current budget, the 2024 budget, interest payment on loans for both domestic and commercial is the biggest line item, followed by compensation of employees. So the headache is not the amortization, but it's the interest. But you're right that we are paying interest on both loans taken by the NDC administration.
And the MPP. Let me bring Dr. Richmond Etuahine, who is a banking consultant, in this conversation. Hello. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning.
How are you doing, Doc?
By the grace of God, I'm doing fairly well.
Fantastic. And thank you so much for joining us this morning. Whenever we talk about debt restructuring, we'll have both political parties trying to play the blame game. One will say, oh, it's your fault. The other will say it's your fault. But we are hearing that this is supposed to be good news for our country. But then there are some implications as well. Now, let's talk about even when the opposition, if the opposition should come to power, what are the implications on the opposition?
Thank you very much. And good morning to your cherished viewers and listeners. I mean, if you hear these two parties talking about, what they have forgotten is that it is people's life which are being traded off just like that. We borrowed for consumption. We don't borrow for serious investment. I overheard somebody's talking about hospitals and what have you. And roads being constructed here and there. This debt that we are talking about, it is for the future generation that we are crippling it. I'm telling you. Because, you see, it is easy to play the blame games. Because in this country, that is how the politics is always being played. But let us be more realistic. Because I don't think the fathers of this nation left us in such a situation. And we have never, ever been in this situation before. I mean, I was here in the Dr. Kwesi Botwe economic recovery. I have never seen anything. My sister, we are getting closer. Let me tell all these politicians who don't want to. Do you know the trajectory we are going on?
Please tell us.
We are going on the Argentina and Greek trajectory, where every 4 years you have to go to IMF for restructuring.
I can't predict.
The simple put is that the borrowing that you took, have you actually invested in cash cows that will pay it back in 10 or 20 years? That is what we are talking about. We are not nobody blaming anybody borrowing. But the question is that, have you borrowed to go and invest in the cocoa industry? Borrowed in the seriously acquired the mining? If we have done this,
Honorable, please. He's on the floor.
Then when we say that, we are preparing that in future we'll have money to pay. But you see, you hear people talking, I borrowed so and so, I borrowed that. It is neither here nor there. Let me make it categorically to Ghanaians that the trajectory we are going, we are treading on dangerous path like Argentina and Greek. And we don't want to go there because every 4 years, we have to go and restructure the debt because you haven't put it in anything that will be able to pay the cash flows. We are talking about 3 billion, 2.35 billion to 3 billion this year. Do you know that by the time we come to the rescheduling time, where the maturity, as Kofi is saying, we will be paying not 2.3, we'll be paying close to maybe 6 billion. Have we made the provision where we'll be able to pay? So let us, as a country, let us stop these blame games and see the seriousness of it. Because I don't think we attach more seriousness to what we have. We like taking glory for it. But you see, what we haven't done, we must be very analytical and do the empirical analysis and say, what have we done to ourselves? I mean, we are the only, you see, Zambia is not crying as we are crying because Zambia external debt is only 4 billion. We have the, you see, the sad thing is that Kofi was talking about the bilateral. Now we are now increasing the bilateral by adding more loans. What are we going to be able to do to pay this? So for me, where I sit and I listen to people talking about it, I take it from the point of view that are we making ready for the future payment of this debt? And you will pay.
So, Doc, let me ask you this. As of now that we have a restructure program, meaning that we are not going to be paying, we have some sort of 4 years where we can, rebuild the economy in a way. What are some of the things that we can do to rebuild the economy, to raise enough funds to be able to say that in the next 4 years, we are of a certain level and we can be able to pay off debt?
You see, thank you very much. You've asked a very, very relevant question. Look, let me say this and let my listeners and those people, politicians, listen to me. As recent as last week, something came out. Ghana has allowed some institutions called FinTech to withhold 57 billion cedis, according to the dollar term, 5 billion. Remittances. And that is where my friends sitting anywhere are not talking about it. If we are able to capture, trace and track remittances, last year, 5 billion. It has gone into private sector, some private institution licensed in Europe and America. And then last 2 years, 3 billion also has gone into them. And then you go and beg for 8 billion. When you can collect these remittances alone, be able to pay your debt. I am giving them a clue. Let us revisit the Payment System Service Act 987, which was passed by the politicians who have actually forgotten about the Foreign Exchange Act, Act 2006. Act 723, which says that nobody, apart from the authorized dealer banks and Bank of Ghana, can hold our foreign exchange. Let them go back. And I'm very serious about this because we have a remittance, a chunk of 5 billion, which could even service the debt. Where is it? It's sitting in the people's account all over the place. And we come and sit here and say that we are taking glory for risk-laden debt. Debt, if you risk-laden 20 years, it will come to hit you. What matters most is your strategy to be able to address, pay off, and pay your interest. I'm giving them a tip. I am giving them a clue. Go and check the Bank of Ghana report published last week. Fintech companies licensed outside this jurisdiction are holding 57 billion cedis, equivalent of 5 billion in their foreign account. I mean, what sort of country is that?
Wow.
What sort of country is that? I plead with the politicians sitting down there. They must get down to work and see how the damage they are doing to the economy. 8 billion for 2 years, 2022 and 2023. Go and check your records. I'm not saying it. It is in the Bank of Ghana statement.
Right.
If we have the 8 billion, my dear, if we have the 8 billion, I mean, what is this?
We don't need to go to IMF for 3 billion, right?
What is this point? And instead of people being realistic and pragmatic and discussing issues, we want to take blame games. I'm sorry. This country cannot grow if you want to take blame games. No. Right. Countries that have survived. I mean, if you go to Singapore, Lee Kuan Yew, he didn't blame people. He said, let us turn our country. We can't turn. We can't even grow what to eat.
So, Doc, are we blaming both political parties?
I blame anybody apart from maybe Kutu Achampong. I blame all the others. Because you see, we haven't made any concrete effort to diversify the Gadgisburg economy.
Right. Now, Doc, let me find out from you. We are hearing that, the city has been depreciating for a while now, and we are hearing that this restructuring program is going to help strengthen the city. How is it going to happen?
You see, what it means is that, as Kofi has said, instead of you paying $3 billion for interest payment, you are allowed to use it internally so that you don't have outflows. So that inflows that you have generated internally, they are not going to bring us money. Let us get it clear. It is not like HIPIC. They will bring you them. They are saying that the debt you own to us, the interest you're not able to pay, we are asking you to hold on. Don't bring it to us. So that would also shore up the foreign exchange. If all things being equal, ceteris paribus, all things being equal, it will show the foreign exchange which we'll use in transfer. That is why Dr. Amin is saying that he's almost 8 billion. Because if you calculate the 3 billion, 2 billion, 3 billion, I think in the next 3 years, he's going to make that savings. And that savings, if you're not paying out and you're keeping it, your reserves will possibly go up. But you need to do your homework very well. It's not that you do for capital expenditure. You need to make sure that these are put in certain areas that will bring you resources to be able to pay in a longer time. So that is how it's going to help us. But that is not the solution to the currency depreciation. The currency depreciation, let me tell each and everyone.
So the debt restructuring program is not a solution to the currency depreciation. That's what you said.
Yes, we call it firefighting. If you do research, either firefighting or short-term strategy, you need to have a medium-term and a long-term strategy where you build a country's export capacity to be able to sell more and receive more to be able to, because currently we are importing more than we export. And when it happens like that, its effects, it translates into depreciation of the currency. So temporary, this will give us a breathing space. But in the long to medium term, especially the remittances, I want to state it categorically. And I want to tell the politicians, including the Speaker of Parliament, they need to revisit the Payment Services and Systems Act that has mandated some institutions to take 5 billion within 1 year.
Doc, when we talk about the long term, what is the long term? What's the duration for the long term? Because we are talking about
the long term should be about 5 to 10 years. Because if you want to do economic diversification, especially our Greek-based economy, it's not going to take a year or two. I mean, if you want to even to plant cultivate rice and export, it will take you, say, 1 year or 2 years. So that's why I say that the planning should be in such a way that we will stop importing the rice, which is costing 1.2 billion.
Right, Doc.
Poultry, 600 billion. Now, recently, I had mangoes from Burkina Faso. How on earth would a country in a God-given resources, rainforest belt, import from Sahelian country tomatoes and onion?
Anyway,
and
Doc,
when we talk about politics, please spare us.
Doc,
Let us be very serious and tackle our issues. And by the strong of the mindset, the mind that we have resources, we have human beings. Let us take it out of the politics and say that we have a challenge. Right. Let us find a challenge.
Thank you so much, Doc, for joining us. We are very grateful. Dr. Etuahene is a banking consultant, and today he has broken things down for us to understand that the debt restructuring program could be an immediate shocker, but long-term, we could actually face some kind of implications on it. I know Honorable Aipe, being a finance person, is very ready to respond to that.
I'm not a finance person.
It's
I'm
a mechanical
engineer by profession. But don't forget, I've been in Parliament for 12 years. And I've attended series of workshops. My colleague here can tell you, if you go to Parliament for 4 years, you can be equated to somebody who has done masters for 1 year or 2 years in maybe economy. Because every time the budget is released, you go to workshops.
You understand it better.
You go and train abroad. So when the consultant comes and talk as if we sitting down here, you don't know. Look, what you are doing, yes, theoretical, but practically, who tells you we are, after this, we haven't learned our lessons and we just go and borrow to increase our debt again, only to go and beg for forgiveness and restructuring. What is happening is that, yes, we are having the $4.4 billion and then the $4.7 billion put together. The releases on certain projects, that what is called the disbursement to certain project that was halted by because of the debt restructuring has been released. Even some of the companies or the lenders are prepared to start disbursing money to contractors to continue the work. So it is something that a structure that is going to put in place to make sure. That's what Kofi said.
But do you agree with him when he says that we need structures that will be able to generate revenue?
That is being done. Look, at times when we talk about some of these things, the NDC and some people think it's a joke. One district, one factory is a reality. Go to
how much revenue have we been able to generate out of one district, one factory? It's 7 years now.
That is why Dr. Chiahiri is telling me that when you're talking about mid-term, long-term, we are talking about between 5 to 10 years. So the fact
is 7 years, how much have we generated? 5 to 10 years, 7 years.
We built those factories in 2017. Some are still under construction. Some are still under construction. Some are under operation. Some haven't started operation at all. Some have been completed. We need raw material to start with. You see, that issue of importing from Sahara regions like Burkina Faso, like Togo, like Côte d'Ivoire, neighboring countries, must be properly debated. Look, America imports food. They have food surplus, they still import food. It will come to a point where a certain season you need to import from your neighboring countries. Ghana exports food to Burkina Faso.
We are looking at the difference. How much is the difference?
We export maize to Burkina Faso more than what we import tomato from Burkina Faso. Go to Ministry of Agriculture and find out. The amount of gari, cassava that we export to Togo is more than what we import from Togo.
How much are we importing in general, and how much are we exporting in general? Because this is where we look at. We are not looking at, we are exporting this amount in
Doma, go to Doma and other areas. The eggs they export to Côte d'Ivoire is more than what we import from Côte d'Ivoire. So the picture should not be painted as if we are just a hopeless country that import from our neighboring countries. We export more than that. Look. Last year, 2022, 2023, and probably 2024 too, we are getting our balance of, how do you call it, trade balance is positive. When we say trade balance is positive is that totally, we export more than what we import. We have positive trade balance. For so many years, we have not been able to, our trade balance was trading in negative. Thanks be to God, 2022 we had positive, 2023 we have positive. And looking at the pictures we are seeing now, we are going to have positive also in 2024.
So you're saying that we
currently
export more than we import.
It is not as bad as we are trying to paint. Yes, I admit there's hardship. Yes, I admit we import.
What about the fine tech he spoke about?
Come again.
The fine tech he spoke about.
The fine tech, the remittances.
The remittances.
Yeah.
You see, at times the passage of our law, as he put it, that politicians, any law, and my brother here will bear me out, that we pass in Parliament, germinate or start from the technocrats. They will put the laws into fine book, then we go to workshop, they explain to us why A should be A and B should be B. Then based on their explanations, we pass it. So for me, I haven't read about these remittances. I've just heard of it. When I go and do more research on it to understand what is meant by remittances and putting money. We can make law to prevent them from putting the money in their foreign accounts. Yes, I agree. But once the law has not been passed, you cannot force them to keep the money in their accounts in Ghana.
So the law can be passed under your government, which it hasn't been passed.
Exactly. We can. I'm not saying that we cannot pass the law.
Okay.
If now that we see that, no, keeping the remittance outside, account outside Ghana is affecting our economy, going forward, we can amend the law to restrict them from doing that. Okay. You see, but what I wanted, just before my brother will come in, don't let us create an impression that it is a hopeless country, that we are people who would never learn from our mistakes. And it's the fact that we've gotten this relief. That means we are going to borrow again for Ghana to be equated.
Are we not going to borrow again?
We can't say
we will borrow again.
We will, yes. But this time round, we'll be measured in our borrowing in such a way that it will not put us into this situation again. So for you to see and say that we are going to the, is it Chile? He mentioned some countries that have got Argentina, Greece and Argentina. We are not close to them. Okay. Don't forget about what the energy minister said. $12 billion energy hub that we are trying. These are things that is going to push it. And if this goes through, why should we have 12 billion from the energy sector and we still go to borrow from the Eurobond? Right. So measures are put in place. They shouldn't entertain and put that fears and panic into Ghanaians.
Okay, Honorable.
Roselyn, look, yes. Let's go straight to the issues. You
want to go straight to, I wanted to ask you a question, but you go to the issue.
You know,
ask questions in there.
We keep going back. We take a step into the future and about 10 steps back. We went to HIPIC. You rightly put it. We went to, what do you call it? IMF. Yeah. Should we be there now? It means we move about a step, then we go about 10 steps backward. That is the issue now today. People should understand that they are not giving us the 4.4 billion. It is the money that we're supposed to pay that they are asking us not to pay. We should invest them. I think we have talked about capital investment and injection into areas of the economy that can pay off. I just want to cite a few things to you. Look, on this table, we discussed about the non-traditional export that yielded us $4 billion last year. Didn't we talk about it? Non-traditional. This is not the one district, one factory. It's not part of it. $4 billion from hitherto an unknown area that we get money from. We're relying on our oil, our minerals, and other big areas. If that alone can give us, and the Ghana Export Promotion Authorities projected that we are going to get $25 billion for the next 5 years. What it means is that if we do our homework earlier, we can even get the $25 billion before the 5 years. Because we haven't put much energy, and yet we are generating about $4 billion a year.
It means that the MPP is doing something right.
No. No, certainly they will do something right.
Because with these kind of monies that we are mentioning, the revenue that we are generating, it means that MPP is definitely doing something right.
But I would disagree with Dr. Etiahini. If non-traditional export alone is giving us over $4 billion, clearly it tells you that we are exporting more than what we are importing.
Why go? So why are we going back to IMF then?
The cost of
why are we going to IMF? If we are making this kind of monies, then we should not even find ourselves where we are today.
No, you still can.
Okay, you let me bring. Let Honorable finish.
Is the right investment for that investment to generate itself, pay off the interest we are paying. Look, one sector can take on the interest and be paying. If we invest $1 billion into an area, that $1 billion can generate its own interest. With the right investment, the right taxation. Now we have over 40 taxes on various kinds. You name them. Energy sector is also running a lot of bills to people. Look at the cost of fuel. Look at the cost of electricity in doing business in this country. What respite are we giving them? We've been giving respite, we've been giving tax exemptions to foreign countries who repatriate these things after that. What are we doing to arrest all these sectors to make sure that the money is brought into a basket for judicious use for the people of this country? Now look at how much money we've lost through the Auditor General's report. SML, all these conduits are money that goes without direct benefit to the people. We keep contractors who haven't paid them. Contractors, some of them have completely run down. They stopped working.
So you see, as well.
We
saw this under the NDC. This is not new under any political party.
No. Look, when we were there, we didn't cap what do you call them, the district assembly conference. Even DC who tells you, the DCs under this going to tell you how they are having challenges there. We do not use the GET fund. We do not use ESLA and other revenue generating, handles to go and borrow. So when you compare that and you say the contractors were working, you understand, what we've gotten to, we should not go there again. How many times do we learn our lessons over and over? As I talked to you this morning, look at the amount of money we use and we say we're restructuring banks. And I told you about what Obama did when the banking sector in the US was facing challenges. He printed $15 trillion to be able to recapitalize the banks.
But you see, all these monies that you are mentioning, that is not what we are restructuring on. We are restructuring on monies that you actually borrowed. I am telling you that. And the Kufuor government borrowed. So yes, I get your money.
What I'm saying is this.
But we are not talking about that money. We are talking about your money that you borrowed.
Your money that you What did we use those monies for? What did we use the money that we brought?
So you have to go and
we
restructure.
used those monies to build a trouble gas. He was in parliament with me when we went for the CBD, $1.5 billion. He's aware. Oh, let me finish, please. We expanded the MPS. That is yielding over $200 million a year. We expanded. Oh, please,
Honorable, please,
I
beg you.
We expanded the Terminal 3. We built hospitals. You know, must I go through? We built schools. We built roads. When these things are invested, they pay themselves. Ghana Gas alone, about 4 years back.
So
Honorable, please. Honorable.
Is that what I said? Is that what I said?
Honorable Ayepe.
Is that what I said?
That is what you are saying.
Please, let him land. Please.
So all this were put in for us to be able to benefit from the loans. And look, we all sit here, even domestically, if you borrow to build a house, your family won't pay. But if you borrow to go and marry or spend it on useless things, your family will complain. You run the country as a business. You don't do that. Turn around, put taxes on businesses. Put taxes. Look, tell me, which part of the economy can we use to go for external borrowing? Everything has been locked up. So if I pay and all other people say, well, yes, we did borrow.
We've got a restructuring.
Please.
Okay, so
if we borrowed, we use the money to invest.
To borrow again.
Look at our cocoa sector. Roselyn, look at cocoa. Look at where we've gotten. $500 million.
The economy is going to
the cocoa sector is going down.
We need the economy to look good anyway. Gentlemen. So talking about this, gentlemen, please. Please,
that is why
gentlemen, please.
He's the one.
Thank you, Honorable Ayepe. I'm pleading with you, please. You've been distracting, Honorable. Please. No, but I just need.
Why? It will get.
No, but Honorable Ayepe, please. When you're on the floor and you're speaking, Honorable, I want you to talk. No, but you haven't.
Except that you raise issues.
No. You have your time. You have your time. No, Honorable. You have your time to speak. Don't expect me to ask. I will ask at the right time, Honorable. Honorable Ayepe.
In Kumasi is not going to pay himself.
Honorable Ayepe.
I would expect you to ask him.
Honorable Ayepe.
The Tamale Airport is not going to pay himself.
Honorable Ayepe.
Honorable Ayepe.
That's 111 hospitals are not going
to pay.
Should we mute
your microphone?
I wanted to ask him.
Please, Honorable. Please, let's experience some decorum here. I need to read messages, please, Honorable Ayepe. Please, let's read some messages coming in. 1.5 billion Ghana cedis to release to victims of banking sector cleanup. No, where is the money coming from, and why now? We can't get money to clear the containers locked up at the port, but we get money to release to victims of banking sector cleanup. I want to tell this government that their way of vote buying has failed. This from Ablade Efiekuma Zongo. Gentlemen, when I'm reading the messages, please and please again, I want some silence. Thank you very much. Good morning to you. One of the key measures to prevent corruption is to establish strong ethical standards and codes of conduct for public officials. These standards should outline the expected behavior of government employees and set clear guidelines on issues such as conflict of interest, gifts and favors, and transparency in decision-making processes. By holding public officials to high ethical standards, the likelihood of corrupt practices occurring can be significantly reduced. Aaron Bebako Kokomisa. Good morning to everyone. The police brutality in Keita is becoming too much in Keita. Some of the police officers in Keita, their behavior looks ugly. Acting inexperience in our country, a police officer, Osabute Jeremiah, beat a young man to death in Keita. Philip Abochi from Keita. Philip will definitely investigate it for you, okay? Good morning, host. We have poor managers of the economic... What's that? Economic unemployment, okay. Healthy education, doomsday fuel day by day activities is a problem. Why the 24 is coming? Achu from Katamaso. Achu, I'm struggling to read your messages. I'm sorry, okay, Achu. I was going to try, but I couldn't. Why is it that any discussion about the economy, the MPP is so worried? Their days are numbered. Good morning to you, Madam, and your guests. Debt restructuring. Can we trust these people? They will publicly say something for everyone to believe and accept, but they will go inside and secretly change everything, which will enable them to benefit out of it. These people will never take any decision without thinking how it will benefit them. So Ghanaians should never trust this group of looters. My regards to Professor Jalil of Tamale Technical University and to our incoming MP, Alhaji Ms. Bao. Meshach Asante says that the victory of the NDC is strongly coming again to save Ghanaians from this ongoing hardship created by Nana Baumi administration. 24-hour economy is a game changer, so let's continue to keep our hopes alive since President Mahama is coming to take over the affairs of this country again. Greetings to Sedem Afenyo, incoming MP, Amasaman. Good morning, Roselyn. Good morning, Roselyn. The mother serpent of corruption and his team are looting the state because they have a match fixer, Godfrey Dami, but God will surely deliver this nation from the hands of the state looters. May God bless John Dramani Mahama for the 24-hour economy. Solomon Zenu, okay. Honorable Akis Mr. Shribekwai says, good morning, beautiful Obapa Roselyn. The external debt restructuring agreement has raised questions about its potential impact on the city struggles. Ironically, Dr. Baumia, who once criticized the previous government's economic management and promised to stabilize the city, now faces criticism for his own administration's handling of the currency. The stark contrast between his promise and the current reality has left many disillusioned. The city woes are a stark reminder of the need for effective leadership and economic management. Regards to CEO of AA Drinking Water, Master J.E. inside Sefri Bekwai. Mensa Majid from Bechem, Toronto. My regards to Honorable Charles Akwesi Esiedu, incoming MP for Tano South. The good deals that the finance minister said he has made is only reflecting in his pockets. They should go to the market and ask the price of goods and stop deceiving themselves. Ghanaians are going to vote based on their current condition and not lies and sugar-coated words. Seriously, Ghanaians can't afford 2 square meal of meal in a day, and yet MPP communicators keep on pretending as if everything is right in the direction. Francis Arthur at Amasaman says, implement a 24-hour economy strategy with 3 shifts of 8 hours each to maximize productivity and efficiency, transform Ghana into an import substitution and export-led economy, enhance access to public services, and create more well-paid jobs for unemployed Ghanaians. This 24-hour operation of ports and harbors will enable efficient and timely heading of cargo vessels and other port activities, supporting global trade and economic growth. Greetings to incoming President John Dramani Mahama and incoming MP Sedem Afenyo Amasaman. Good morning. Please tell the NPP man that Nanado and Baumia Timothy have failed Ghanaians full stop. Kubila inside Tamale. Tell the NPP man. Okay. Al-Hassan C. says Zenu from Zenu Central says the most wasteful government ever in the history of Ghana is Nanado Akufo-Addo Baumia-led NPP. They are sloganeering and publish people with empty brains. When the NDC was borrowing and building gas plant Terminal 3, creating funds and putting monies in them to pay future debt and building regional hospitals and airports, the NPP borrow for consumption and don't reserve anything for these monies to be paid. Roselyn, I tell you, those who died before Akufo-Addo's government are lucky. After the end of 2024, every Ghanaian alive needs to be given a certificate of survival. Honorable Siba Al-Hassan. Honorable Siba, a certificate of what? Good morning. Please tell the NPP man he's not telling lies. He's speaking what it is. No, any expansion in my constituency, SHS, Pru West, under this MPP term. Well, he's saying that there's not any expansion in the secondary school. Honorable IPA. Good morning, Rosie. The Winneba Cape Coast Takrade Elobo Road is not a Ghana's government project. It's an international construction work undertaken by ECOWAS nations. Rosie, did you see how difficult Honorable IPA was suffering to tell Ghanaians what they have done with their over 600 million Ghana city loan? MPP never again. Ghanaians are going to vote against them. Everything had gone wrong. Kofi Abuaje Medina. Alhaji Hamza Pig Farm says, good morning, Roselyn. Please tell the NPP to stop celebrating bankruptcy. The NPP man in your studio is just talking English. He should come with me to Malamata Market and see things for himself. They should stop insulting our intelligence and credit us with the little respect we deserve in this country. Hardships of Ghanaians have moved from bad to worse. They always think Ghanaians don't have minds to think for themselves. Madam, we are where we are today simply because of the arrogant posture of functionaries and communicators of the NPP party. Madam, to your information, monies used for the Agenda 111 was monies left in the sinking fund by President Mahama. He just lied to your listeners. These guys cannot be trusted. They are full of scammers. The future of this country and that this wicked, super incompetent government led by President Fuadu. And Dr. Balmia is pregnant and hopeless. Are you aware NAPCO trainees haven't been paid for 9 months now after they have rendered their services to this nation, but monies were found to pay teachers, trainees and nursing trainees for political gains. These people always feel that they know it all, but know nothing. God have mercy. I have a lot of messages, but unfortunately, what we'll have to do is we'll read it during the What's Trending segment. So let me take your final opinions on what we've discussed and we can go. Now, it's just one question that I'm asking the two of you. How is this restructuring going to strengthen the city? Honorable IP, I start with you.
Before, let me take this.
We have just about a minute. So.
Yeah, so even if I explain this one, when we say Trans-ECOWAS route, when it lies in your country, you go and look for money and construct. ECOWAS will not bring money and say, Ghanaian, we are doing Trans-ECOWAS route, so the road that lies in Ghana should be constructed by Togo or Burkina Faso or Mali. No. So the person who sent the message should understand the funding of this Trans-ECOWAS route. You see, yes, looking at it, when we are, with the monies that we are supposed to, when we say we are paying debt, what happens is that the money, the revenue that we have are in cedis. The money you collect from port, wherever, are all in cedis. It comes into the consolidated fund. Then when it is due for payment of this international debt or the bonds, what happens is that you have to go and change the cedi and get dollar to pay your debtors. So we don't pay with cedi. So now that we are not going to pay, the pressure on which government ought to go and change the dollar, the cedi to get dollar to pay is going to reach. At the same time, the cedi that we're supposed to change to get a dollar will also be retained in the country. So definitely the economy is going to be
So the cedi
better.
is going to strengthen
Exactly.
because of
I
that. Okay,
so
unfortunately,
end by saying that the issue that, oh, you borrow for consumption. When you build, how to call it, the Tamale phase 2, you are not consuming the money.
Okay.
When you are building roads, you are not consuming. When you are building international airport in Kumasi,
we are not.
when we are building landing sites in 11 coastal communities in this country,
thank you very much.
It is also the city is a temporal, it's a knee-jerk action because, like he said, we are not going to pay. So there won't be pressure on you to. It's just like you've borrowed, and then the bank staff are putting pressure on you to pay. Now they'll say that, we are not going to put pressure, we are going to restructure your loan to pay it in 2 years. So you have that freedom to be able to use the amount of money that you were supposed to pay and use them for other investment. But for the long-term solution is the capital investment and investing seriously in agribusiness. When we do that and then we reduce the quantum of imports, we have to invest where we can do what we call external export or export drive. The export drive is what is going to ensure that the city is strengthened for a long time. Unfortunately, they had all the opportunity. They've borrowed more than any government under this. They had so much money under the 2 oil fields we gave, ESLA, the sinking fund, the infrastructure fund, and all these monies have been funded without no investment.
So
for me,
$4.7 billion for